I'm trying to get this out to you as quickly as possible. I've been sent a leaked document from the Dutch government, the defense attaché in the embassy in Tel Aviv, to the Dutch government, the Netherlands, about the situation in Gaza and the real intentions of the Israeli government and the defense forces. So I'm going to do my best to get it out and go through. I want to bring up the document so you can see it, read it for yourselves, and I'll go through and highlight. But please, if you can, download this video, because I don't know how long it's going to be up online. They've been taking off my videos. They've been blocking me. I hope I get this online, but please take it down, because this is critical information. I've searched the web. There's been a few documents or few reports online about leaked documents from the Netherlands, but not this one in particular. There's been one source, the NRC, which is a Dutch news agency, which has got it, but they've put a firewall or a paywall in front of it, so you can't access it. Yep, I've got the leak, I've got the scoop, and I want you to know exactly what's going on. So here's the document. I've highlighted as much as I can so I can make this easier and run through it as quickly as possible. It's a diplomatic memo from the Dutch embassy saying Israel uses disproportionate force without qualification, according to a confidential memo from the Dutch defense attaché in Tel Aviv, saying that the Israeli army intends to deliberately cause enormous destruction to the infrastructure and civilian centers in Gaza. You can see that, right? This strategy explains the high number of deaths among the civilian population, and these are the authors of the article that was published in NRC, and not naming the defense attaché. Here's some photos. Okay, so let's look at this. Israel, they're saying, uses disproportionate force in Gaza and deliberately attacks civilian infrastructure such as bridges, roads, and residential complexes. This approach explains the high number of deaths in Gaza and, according to critics, constitutes a violation of international treaties and the laws of war. The memo, it says, was drawn up by the defense attaché at the embassy, who is intensively monitoring the situation around Gaza with a military team. According to the report, the Israeli military, political and military leadership has no clear strategy, and the Israeli desire to finally deal with Hamas is a military goal that is virtually impossible to achieve. This is what the Dutch defense attaché has documented and sent to the government of the Netherlands. The findings on the confidential report are in stark contrast to the public statements by the Israeli army in recent weeks, which claims to be doing as much as possible to prevent the civilian deaths. Okay, they go into the history of the number of deaths. And then it says that the outgoing Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, said last Wednesday, after a conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, that Israel must show that what they do is also proportionate and must act within the limits of international law. The memo shows that the Netherlands knows that Israel consciously opts for a ruthless military approach that leads to large numbers of civilian casualties. Yet the Israeli actions are not publicly condemned by Rutte and outgoing Foreign Minister Hanke Bruins. But what's important here is D66 party leader and outgoing Minister of Economic Affairs and Climate, Rob Jutton, said on Sunday in the Dutch parliament that he believes that Rutte should be calling for a ceasefire now. And let's go to the next point. According to the official memo, the decisions of the Israeli war cabinet and army leadership are motivated by revenge. He quotes from the memo, "The emotion and anger are echoed in IDF briefings," the message said. "These emotions would play a role in expanding the instructions for use of force with the Israeli military and in the Israeli interpretation of the laws of war," which means basically they're not going to abide by the laws of war. It's their interpretation and they can manipulate them any way they want. Okay. The next segment deals with Lebanon, where I am, Beirut and the Dahiyah Doctrine and their desire to try and draw Hezbollah into the battle. The IDF, it says the embassy tries to limit losses on its own, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to hear that. Moreover, the embassy sees that the IDF applies elements of the so-called Dahiyah Doctrine. This strategy, which was first used in the 2006 war in Lebanon, intends to deliberately cause massive destruction to the infrastructure and civilian centers while taking large numbers of civilian casualties for granted. The deliberate destruction of civilian targets is contrary to the laws of war. That's what the defense attaché is saying. It says, according to the memo, Israel wants to demonstrate credible military force with its offensive in Gaza to show Iran and its proxies, such as Hezbollah, that they will stop at nothing. This attitude, according to the defense attaché, increases rather than decreases the chance of regional escalation. So they know that the Israelis are trying to increase regional conflict, engage Hezbollah into a regional conflict. Because the Israelis feel little explicit support from the allies other than the United States, this could lead to more extreme actions and the possible targeting of the Northern Front, a preventative Israeli war at Hezbollah, then to hoped for peace negotiations. Let me highlight that again. This could lead to more extreme actions and the possible targeting of the Northern Front, a preventative Israeli war against Hezbollah, then to hoped for peace negotiations. They don't want peace negotiations. Israel is trying to engage Hezbollah in a war on its northern border to get more allies in support of its actions. At the end of October, Rutte, the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, said in a parliamentary debate that Israel has the right to eliminate the terrorist threat. Hamas's ability to carry out attacks must disappear, he said. However, according to the embassy, a clear military victory over Hamas cannot be achieved. This is what the military, the defense attaché from the Netherlands is advising. And even the Prime Minister in a parliamentary debate in that government stated a clear military victory over Hamas cannot be achieved. Even if Hamas is almost completely eliminated, the memo states, the fundamentalist movement's ideology will live on. There is no military answer to this. This is a political issue. So there you have it. So what we need to do is we've got to share this, expose them. We've got to expose, because every single government in the Western world and around the world must have this same information, must be dealing with this, confronting it, but they're hiding it from us. They are complicit in the massacres going on in Gaza because they know the information. So it's up to us, make sure as many people in the world know what's really going on. So let's get it out there.